Hello and welcome back to your daily update of AMC stock. Today we are entering into the day. It's early pre-market still, but after hours we are still down 4%. So total today and yesterday, we are down 14%, nearly 15%. And the trend of the week has really just been down ultimately. It's been pretty consolidated in this range here between around 55-ish to 45, 46. And while it might seem like scary territory, the apes are not chilling, and we have a lot of ownership coming in from overseas still, and it is only increasing. And we also see volume kind of staggering off here. This is a volume chart here, and we can see that it kind of staggers off over the month. This is where we are right now. And this is, of course, the bull run up, and we get to see the volume all the way through, and the volume has really been lowering. The nice thing about this is while the volume has been lowering, we've been staying up above the resistance here into the 50s, which is this line right here. This is $50. So we're staying true to this resistance. So all of these apes are coming in and buying up at this $50 mark and making this stock not be able to go any further down, which is obviously really good if we're bullish here on AMC. The shorts are going to be coming in here soon. And what could potentially be happening is another thing like how we saw at the original where GameStop rallied up. When we saw AMC go from $2 to $20 and crash back down. We saw that it was quote unquote overvalued. It came back down. And then we saw a lot of posts about the actual options coming out, which showed the real truth of it. And a lot of put options were put down on AMC. And then of course, as Wall Street Bets does, they pump it into the sky. I think a similar thing could potentially happen, but instead it could be up here. It could tumble down, and then we see all those shorts come out, and the hedge funds and suits definitely don't ever really understand. So they're going to continue to short it because it is technically in all fundamental ways pretty overvalued, but they miss the point entirely. Another interesting surface tweet that came out here yesterday, as of June 2nd, AMC had 501 million outstanding shares. AMC's number of shareholders in the US and abroad has increased to about 4.1 million. And the retail investors, according to Adam here, 80% of AMC is owned by retail investors at this time. So we control pretty much everything. And if this stock sells, there's very little to blame minus each other, which is something that I find very interesting when retail investors own more of the stock than institutional investors. And that's because 80% of the entire market in total liquidity is owned by institutions, which is quite interesting that we have a complete opposite situation with AMC, GME. And as long as everyone holds true, the average share amount is 120 shares per person. It's very possible that this stays high even for years to come without any fundamental change. Now, another thing that could really help them is not just a fundamental change, but we also could see a huge catalyst like them picking up a streaming software or a streaming service, getting it so people can stream maybe mainstream movies to their home. You know, we don't know that yet, but they have plenty of capital to work with now. They can sell back shares and they can gather a lot of capital to pretty much save the business that we all love and the reason why we're doing this in the first place. And I think we also got to look at, of course, GME, GameStop, and see what trend they've been going on, which has been quite the opposite this week. We've seen a positive catalyst, and a lot of employees have been leaving the company actually, and we've still seen the price pretty much pumping up, and it's getting into that territory where the meme stocks are kind of all looking pretty high at the moment, and they both are in a similar spot at pretty much all-time highs, or at least matching towards it. And these two meme stocks are likely going to move together unless if one gets a catalyst and the other one does not. So we'll have to see what happens here, but we're up 85% on GameStop. So AMC, who knows, but we could see a dip back down into this 26 range and then a pop back up, which I think is very, very likely if we don't have another breakout day in the next few days. I would say by the end of the week. So we have 2 days pretty much to actually have another breakout into this 50-60 range, which could bring that herd mentality back, the FOMO type mentality that we have right now in the market, where everyone's going to want to get in, everyone's going to want to attack this thing once again and get this back up. Another one I think is interesting is Wendy's here. So we had a big pump up. This was mentioned on Wall Street Bets, and it got pumped up about 25% in a day, but it corrected back down a little bit. We're yet to know what this thing really has in store for us, but we're up 11% so far on the month, and that's after our 15% correction from the all-time highs here for this time frame of $28. So we'll see how this thing evolves. This could evolve into the meme stock, the actual Tendies machine, and it would be very obvious here with Tendies. And that was the main catalyst. They came out with their summer tenders, and the Wall Street Bet form went crazy because that is the ultimate definition of getting Tendies. Another thing I would like to add to this as well is this number is actually a lot higher if we take out short interest. We get more towards the 98% of AMC is owned by retail investors. shares. So that short interest is the thing that people are going to be attacking the most. And I think that even the Koreans are getting to it, and that comes to here. Korean investors have snapped up to $225 million of AMC shares from Monday through Thursday, and it looks like their forms have actually gained on to AMC now, and they were instead of referring to themselves as apes, apparently they are referred as ants. So I guess that makes sense, but they're coming in on AMC pretty hot, and we'll see what really effect long-term this has. So far, it hasn't been very good this week. We've just pretty much seen sideways trading back to where we pretty much started the week at in the first day, and not much has changed. So it really hasn't made an effect so far, and I'm curious to see what kind of effect this will have in the long run for AMC Entertainment, because so far we have seen pretty much nothing, as this is not really benefiting us in any way as a catalyst. So the things we need coming in here for the last week, we need to hold. We need everyone to hold that is into this. If you're into this, hold. If you need to take money out for whatever reason, I guess you got to do what you got to do. But you're kind of missing the point here of the whole movement within the AMC stock. If you don't want to be in it, get out of it. But if you want to be into it, hold the ownership shares. They're going to have to buy back all the shorted shares that they basically created out of thin air by doing a bunch of, I would say, unethical things. And that's through naked options and naked puts. Essentially just creating shares that aren't actually there, which creates a pretty dangerous atmosphere for the entire market and create a pretty terrible effect across the entire market, and not only including AMC, Wendy's, whatever, any of these new meme stock. I'm talking about the whole market. We create a weird situation with the SEC, but they're going to have to buy these back regardless if the stock price stays high or even if it goes down a little bit. They're still going to have to buy these shares back eventually. And if all the 98% of the retail investors, the true retail investors, hold and do not sell, there's no reason for this to ever really go down. It's only going to go up. It's going to skyrocket. There's claims on Wall Street Bets that this thing could go literally to $100,000, which effectively is not going to happen because people will not hold all the way there, and that'll create a huge catalyst to basically crash down like we saw in January. And eventually this number of shares outstanding is going to go down, or it doesn't make much sense, but the shares outstanding is going to go down due to what is happening with all the shares being created. The stock is going down as we speak, but we're sitting at like 174% float right now, which is, I would say, a little weird that there's 100% is the whole pie of the shares of AMC, but we have 174% shares outstanding, which the SEC should be taking a look into. But if just one of these things clicks, this thing is going moon rocket into, I would say the floor would become $100, and that could be in the next few months. And we're going to have to be patient. Pretty much to March all the way till late May, we sat between $12 and $9. So a similar thing could happen again where it crashes back down, we hover, and then something comes out against institutions that have been creating these fake shares. And then boom, we're back up into the hundreds. And that's where I see the pop potentially happening. But if you're here for the long run, hodl, stay strong, and have a great day. Peace.